Hello everyone, welcome to back my channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before starting the video, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. I'm impressed by how accurate to the books The Wheel of Time Season 3, Episode 4 was. Prime Video's adaptation of Robert Jordan's The Wheel of Time books has received a fair amount of flack for its constant changes from the original source material. Whether those changes will ultimately be beneficial is still to be seen, but I won't lie, I've been impressed with how Season 3 has developed so far, despite having generally mixed feelings about the previous installments. This is easily the strongest season yet, and Episode 4's Rhuidean storyline solidified it. Adaptation is a tricky thing, and source material changes are something I'm typically very lenient about. However, the Wheel of Time series is one that's had me, at multiple points, asking, oh, but why? Even with my praise for Season 3, there have been some moments that triggered that response. That said, Episode 4 is fantastic. The Wheel of Time Season 3 story is based on The Shadow Rising, a behemoth of a fantasy book, and it's doing an excellent job emboldening the aspects of the novel that make it such a fan favorite. The main chapter, The Wheel of Time Season 3, Episode 4, draws from is The Shadow Rising Chapter 34, He Who Comes with the Dawn, though it also draws significantly from Chapter 25, The Road to the Spear, and 26, The Dedicated. In a show where we've seen events reordered, removed altogether, or drastically altered, this is the first time the Amazon adaptation has almost directly copied and pasted book pages into its screenplay, bringing the wild visions in Rhuidean to life. It's especially surprising given that this is one of the more esoteric and hard-to-follow sequences in the novels. To briefly explain The Wheel of Time Season 3, Episode 4. This episode sees Rand al'Thor, the Dragon Reborn, and Moiraine enter the mystical city of Rhuidean. As the audience learns throughout the episode, Rhuidean was a city built by the Ael, including many of Rand's ancestors. In the city, Rand sees the lives of some of his ancestors on his father's side, witnessing events further and further back in history. Meanwhile, Moiraine is forced to witness numerous potential futures and obtains Sakarnan, a white sangreal orb that will increase her power going forward. In Chapter 25, Rand al'Thor enters Rhuidean and experiences a number of visions. For example, Mandaine's vision in the TV series is almost directly adapted from the same vision in the book chapter. Throughout The Road to the Spear and The Dedicated, Rand sees all the visions from the episode, as well as a couple of others. The story picks up in Chapter 34, where Rand emerges from Rhuidean and reveals that he is He Who Comes with the Dawn, fulfilling part of the Ael's Karakarn prophecy that would confirm him as their leader. Throughout the Rhuidean chapters in the books, Rand experiences pivotal visions of his ancestors. Rhuidean isn't populated, but is instead visited by those fulfilling Karakarn prophecy and by future Ael clan chiefs and wise ones who seek to learn of their people's tumultuous past. The idea, which is established by the Aes Sedai in the Mandain flashback, is that for one to lead the Ael, they must understand how their people came to be, how Rhuidean was built, and how they split from the Tuathanan, the nomads who follow the way of the leaf, whom we saw in Season 1. Rand's visions go as far back as the Age of Legend, which the TV show depicts with sci-fi elements like the floating sphere, demonstrating how Lanfear, then known as Mirren, tried to tap into a new source of the One power and accidentally unleash the Dark One. Roderick, Jordan, Adan, and Kalman are all Rand ancestors who were left out of the TV show visions, and the series also adds a vision of Janduin, Rand's father. In Chapter 34 of the book, this scene is described to him by Amys, but he doesn't actually see it. It's easy to look at an adaptation and wonder why they're not just taking the words straight off the pages and pasting them into the show. In many cases, this isn't really plausible. However, Season 3, Episode 4 does this on multiple occasions, and it's a major part of what made the episode so strong. For example, Rand and Moraine's dialogue scene at the beginning of the episode is fantastic, and it's ripped straight out of the pages of The Shadow Rising. As mentioned, many of the visions are also right out of the books. The Wheel of Time Season 3 is already packed with book changes, some more questionable than others. For example, the opening sequence of Liandrin and the Black Ajah's escape from the White Tower was exaggerated significantly to provide an exciting action sequence to kick off the season. Season 3, Episode 4 was a tremendous success, but it still had its changes that will lead to even more changes afterward. Moiraine and Mat are the two characters affected most by book changes in this episode. First, Mat is present in Rhuidean with Rand in the books, but he was moved to the Tanchico plotline in the TV adaptation. In the novel, Mat is hung from a rope on the branches of Vendosora, and Rand ends up saving him. In the show, Moiraine also obtains Sakarnan, which she's not linked to in the books. This change could give her a better chance in her likely confrontation against Lanfear, giving her a necessary power boost. While there are a few notable differences from the books here, the visions themselves feel like the vast and vibrant imagination of Robert Jordan brought to life. These glimpses at a fantastical and science fiction-like past have been the sources of discussion and theorization surrounding the Wheel of Time for decades. To see the TV series fully embrace them is thrilling. If the show continues to take these steps, it could genuinely make the bumps in the first 2 seasons worthwhile. This is the Wheel of Time at its most daring and, ultimately, at its best.